So it is study table. हाँ मिल जाएगी तो घर पे ही लेकर आता है नहीं 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 आपके घर पे ही है उसमें मैं कुछ महंगा खरीदती हूँ कुछ चोर जाएगा
Hello guys, welcome back. So today is day 13 of 200 days DSA Python series. So let us. So guys, let me tell you one more thing. This is not a class, not a lecture. It's basically a discussion which we will be doing together. We will fail together. We will try out different strategies for solving the question. In this way, we will try to develop a critical thinking and analogical thinking towards how to solve DSA questions under the pressure whenever you are in an interview, right? So this is the the funda. This is the concept. Uh, and guys, one more thing I would like to request you before looking at the solution, before looking at the hint of any question you're solving for DSA, you must try it out for at least 15 to 20 minutes. If it is an easy question, just try it for 10 to 15 minutes. If it is a difficult question, then at least try, or you I would say for a medium question, at least try for 15 to 20 to 25 minutes, right? uh, this will create whatever wrong you are doing in coding, okay. um, any kind of brackets mismatch, braces, okay, any colon, semicolon, whatever, okay. So this will teach you each and everything, line by line, okay. I know these days the coding is has become, the people are doing AI coded things, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to uh, you know for whenever you push the code into the system, into the production, then it is you who is going to decide what to push in and what not to, and ultimately that is what you will be focusing on, right? Directly getting solution on chat gpt or things like that will not teach you anything. Rather, building the program yourself, building the solution, trying out different strategies for getting the solution will ultimately lead you to uh, the end goal, right? So here we have lead code 268. It's an easy question, okay, and it is from the topic arrays, okay. So given an array, we have nums containing n distinct numbers in the range 0 to n. So uh, so in day 12, we have seen how to merge two sorted array, right? And today is day 13 of live DS in Python. We need to find missing number in an array, okay. So how do you go into finding out the missing number in an array, we can just try with very much brute force approach. Okay, we have the distinct number in the range 0 to n. It means that if my n is 5, then the numbers will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out of these 5 numbers, one number will be a missing number, right? So that we have to find out. Very simple strategy which we can use here is to use a dictionary. Okay, what happens in dictionary is you you can directly check. Okay, with O1 operation, O1 time complexity, you can just pick out the missing number. Like say, I want to give a dictionary. I want to create a dictionary with key value pairs, and where key will be my number and the value will be, say, it will be 1 or 0 or whatever, right? If it is if I count it, then it will increase. And um, I mean, if it is available, then it will put some number, and if it is not available, then it will ultimately lead to 0. So what I'll do is I'll first create a dictionary, and I'll just write down what all numbers are there in that list, and then I'll pick each number one by one. Okay, so that sort of idea we can use. So first I'll just say n equals length of nums, and for I in range 0 to n, right? What I'll say, mm, I'll define a dictionary, my dict. That will be, so I'll just iterate every, so I'll say if I in my dict, not in my dict, I'll just return I. Else I'll just return nums of my dict of I is equal to 0. So what I need to return the only number that is missing from the array. Okay. What if I do my dict nums I is equal to 1. So what it will do, it will create my dict of nums of I. So nums of I will be, let's say this question, 9. Okay, nums of 0 will be 9. So my dict of 9 is equal to 1. So if 9 is there, it means it will print 1, right? uh, So the dictionary will be created for I not in my dictionary. I'll just try to return that I. First of all, I have printed this dictionary, and this dictionary will not contain that number which is not present, right? If I not in my dict, return I. For I in range 0 to n. नहीं मिला. Okay, guys, so this is not solving our so if I use only for loop 0 to n, if I not in nums return I, n plus 1 it should be, because it says from 0 to n, and if I put n plus 1 then it will go up to n. Okay, this was the mistake. Yeah, okay, this is the logic, but what is happening here, if you try submitting it, we are using two for loop. Although this has solved the question, but I would not recommend this solution to you because the time complexity, just think about the time complexity. We are using this one for loop. Here the time complexity is order of n. Okay, here also if I not in nums, it means that I will iterate from all these numbers, right? I will iterate to these numbers. Okay, so its time complexity also becomes O of n, and as these are nested loops, then the time complexity will get multiplied, so the total time complexity becomes O of n square. And you just see the constraints. The numbers given is 10 to the power 4, so when you square it, O of n square, then it comes 10 to the power 8, right? So it is just on the boundary. It is getting executed because you have these numbers up to 10,000, 0 to 10,000. If it is more than 10,000, okay, then definitely this code will break, because when order of n square gets it's squared, it will be greater than 10 to the power 8, and approximate time complexity of the problem in on lead code should not be more than 10 to the power 8 operations, right? That is why you have to think about some brute force. Let's say if the interviewer gives you that the n value is 10 to the power 7, then this code will break. Definitely this code will break. You will get time limit exceeded error. Okay, because the number of operation becomes 10 to the power 14 in that case. Okay, so this is why you have to, think logically. So let's try doing that question again. I'll just make it as comment. I'll remove it as comment. So it will also be n plus 1. Okay, my bad. N plus 1. So it says list index out of range. So instead of nums of I, you can also go for I, but this should be n plus 1. And so this will create a dictionary wherein you have key value pairs. And again, if we iterate it, okay, um, I'll just say I'll now update the dictionary. So if you have this, if if you find I in that nums, that dictionary, okay, or you can say if you find that num or number in that list, then what you probably do, you just update that value in dictionary. Okay, so right now you have all zeros, right? So what you will be doing is you will update all those zeros to ones, okay, in the dictionary. How you will update it? You will just check whether the number is available in that list or not. Okay, if the number is available in the given list, then it will update the value. Key value means key value pair in dictionary, the value to one by one after iterating. So another for loop, right? Another for loop will what it will do? It will just update for I in list, that list. Okay, I have this list. If I is there in the list, I'll have to update the value of that key. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just do my dict I is equal to 1. So what it will do, it will just try to update that. Okay, my dict of I is equal to 1, right? So first what we are doing is we are just doing my dict of I is equal to 0. Now what I'm doing is if I find this I in nums, then I will do my dict of I, means the key is same, like I'll select the key and I'll update the value to 1, right? So what will happen? All the zeros of the dictionary will change itself to 1. Okay, and the number which is not found in the list will be as it is 0. Okay, so that will be our identification number ki, okay, this is the number which is not updated. It means that it is not present in the list, right? So this is the idea. Okay, so how to find that number, how to get that number? Okay, so for key value in enumerate uh, my dict. Okay, so or you can say uh, whatever is the dictionary dot items, that is also another method. Okay, so that also we can use. So my dict dot items. Okay, if value is equal to 0, right, return key. I think this should work. I think this should work. Yeah. Yes. So what is the num? It was 0, 1, 2. It was supposed to be 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Because this is the value of n. And what is the question? The question is, we have n distinct numbers from 0 to n, right? So n is included. So here, what is the missing number? We just have to find only the numbers in the range that is missing. So only the number in the range. In the range means from 0 to 3. What is missing from 0 to 3? It is the number 2 which is missing from 0 to 3. So our output is 2 and the expected output from the platform is also 2. Okay. So yeah, and if the input nums is 0 and 1, uh, output is 2, right? N equals to 2, there are two numbers, so all numbers are in the range 0 to 2. 2 is the missing number in the range, right? What is the example 3? We have this input nums, so it starts from 0 and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 9. 8 is missing, right? So output is 8, right? So 0, 1, this output is 8. Case 3, output is 8. So our output is coming 8. Okay. So this is the better solution. Why I'm saying it's better? Because just let us start the time complexity and space complexity. So in the last solution, what was the space complexity? The time complexity was order of n square, and we were just returning a number, right? So the space complexity is O of 1, right? It's a it's a constant space. Okay. Now here its time complexity is order of n, right? Its time complexity, since it is a dictionary and we are putting the numbers, then it will be O of just 1, right? Constant. Now this is also order of n, right? And here also we are traversing the whole dictionary, okay? But it has the time complexity of order of 1 because it is a dictionary and we are checking the items. Okay, so what is the total time complexity here? It will not, this is not a nested loop, this is different for loop and this is a different for loop. It is not a nested for loop. It means that the order of time complexity will not get multiplied, it will just get added, right? So the time complexity will be only O of n plus n, that is O of 2n, right? Which is approximately equal to O of n. But you have to tell to the interviewer that yes, the total time complexity is O of 2n plus 1 plus 1. Okay. But it is approximately O of n, right? Order of n. So this is how you solve the question, right? Now we still have some time left, so let us try solving another question. Maximum consecutive ones. Okay, so maximum consecutive ones. So we have given a binary array nums. Okay, so now we have given a binary. It means that It has only zeros and ones, right? It has only zeros. So we have to return the maximum number of consecutive ones in the array. So let's say this is the array. So what is the maximum number of consecutive one? Here it is 1, 2. Now again it is 0, then it breaks. Then again continuous 3. So what we have to get return, what we have to return? We have to return 3 as the output. Okay. So here is the explanation. The first two digits or the last three digits are consecutive ones. The maximum number of consecutive ones is 3, right? So our answer has to be 3. Now if we have this input nums, what is the output? It will be consecutive ones is 2, right? Okay. Let's try doing this question. So whenever this logic comes to find the maximum and the minimum value, what should come to your mind is you should always, keep a variable wherein that variable is getting updated for the maximum value. Okay, this is the idea which is coming into my mind as of now. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll iterate and I'll check whether I plus 1 is equal to I or not. Okay, that's one thinkology. Okay, let's try doing from that perspective. So the first, let's say I is 0, so nums of 0 is 1. Okay, I'll check whether nums of I plus 1 is 1 or not. If it is 1, then um, I'll just increment count, then I is 1. Okay, so nums of I is again 1. Now I'll check nums of I plus 1 is equal to nums of I or not. Here in this case it is false, right? Because nums of I plus 1, that is nums of 2 is 0. So the value of count again goes to 0. So let's do with 2 for loop. Okay, let me check the okay, this is 10 to the power 5. So if I do, now you can see here, if I do with 10 to the power 5 with order of n square, then definitely it will give me the time limit exceeded error, because the number of operation will be O of n square in the worst case scenario, right? Still I'll do it with the 2 for loop. Okay, why? Because I will not be submitting. If I submit, I might get the time limit exceeded, that is for sure. I'll be getting the time limit exceeded error, but I should build my logic first, right? Whatever is coming to mind, let me write those codes, right? Just don't think about whether the solution will be right or wrong. Just start writing the code so that you know you brainstorm each and every line, each and every logic which you are discovering right now, right? So this is how you do. You start with for loop with I and j as the two variables. What I'll do is I'll put j one step ahead of I, and the last I will be at n minus 1, so that our nums is complete, because the jth element will be next to the I. Okay, so for I in range 0 to n minus 1, I can do that. I'll just say n is equal to len of nums. Yes. Now I'll say count is equal to 0. Here I'll put count because it will again get updated. For j in range I plus 1 to n, right? It will be from I plus 1. Now if I put that condition, if nums of I is equal to nums of j, yes. If it is, then what I'll do? What I'll do? I'll count this. I'll increment the value of count, because ultimately what I have to find out, I have to find out the maximum number of consecutive ones. Okay, so these are consecutive ones. It means that uh, and if let's say my nums of I is, I think there is one logical error which I will solve it, because when nums of 2, when I becomes 2, then nums of 2 is 0. Still I am finding out whether nums of 0 is equal to this. If it is, then it will increase the count. Let's say I have this double 0, then also it is increasing the count. So this logic is wrong. This logic is wrong, because it is not identifying whether I am counting whether I am counting 1 or 0, right? So what I have to do is I have to ensure that nums of I has to be 1. Nums of I has to be 1. So what I can do is I can put an AND condition. If nums of I is equal to 1 and nums of I is equal to nums of j, then I'll just count plus equals 1. In the end, I'll say return. I think this should work. So my output is coming less. Why? Else part count plus count is equal to 0. I have to make the 0 also, na? I have to just ensure the position of count. Let's say my count is 0, then my for loop starts, then my for loop of j starts. and nums of I equal nums of j. Use that. I think I should not take this extra j. I would simply say my I if nums of I equals and nums of I plus 1. And nums of I is equal to nums of I plus 1. That's it. With a single for loop, I think I can do that. I'll just say the value of count equals plus 1. And if nums of I equals 0, right? Then it will make the value of count as 0. Okay, return is also. I'm so sorry. I think this should work. Okay, my output is come to. There is some small logical error which we can sort. If my nums of 0 is 0, then I'll just have to increment the I plus, right? Count equals 0 and I plus equals 1. I plus equals 1. I think this. Let's say my count max. Okay, this I have to assign, right? Count max is equal to maximum of count max, comma, count. Okay, this I should have done. Count max equals 0 and this count equals 0 should be here. No, it should be there because every time this I is getting incremented and I have to return count max. Okay. Okay, so this after 0 something is going wrong. Yes, this code is getting executed only when when nums of I is 1 and nums of I is equal to nums of I plus 1, then it is incrementing the count plus. Now when 0 is encountering, so it is simply making count equal 0. Nums of I equal to 0. It will just do I plus 1. So the value of I becomes, it was 3, it becomes 3. So 3 to n minus 1. So nums of 3 equal to 1. Yes. And nums of I is equal to number of I plus 1. Yes. So count plus equals 1. Okay. So value of count was 0. Now value of count is 1. Count max is equal to 1. Now it should come, because every time the count max value here, uh, we are only incrementing the count max as 1, but we have already found out this code is getting executed only when count this is also 1. Okay, so nums of I is also 1 and nums of I plus 1 is also 1. So we have already got two i's, two ones. Okay, so our count has to be 2, but we are just incrementing it once for the sake of the coding part. Okay, so here uh, we can do like this. So now our this one is correct. We can try submitting this code. Okay, so out of only 3 test cases remains unpassed, right? Rest all cases are passed. So 90% of the solution is correct, right? Uh, there is something more we have to think one step beyond, right? So just think about it. This is a real challenge. Okay, you get stuck, you try to do maximum, uh, you try to solve maximum test cases. Okay, still if one of the test cases is not passed, it means that at some point of time, at some cases, this code is not giving you the right answer. Okay, this code is not giving you the right answer, although your strategy is correct. Okay, but there may be some test cases. What if yeah, so if my input is 0, then my output is coming 1, and my expected has to be 0. Okay, so we can just put one more condition, right? If nums of if n equal to 1, or you can just say if nums of 0 uh, is equal to 0, then return 0. Now if we submit it, I think okay, if there are two numbers, then elif nums of 0 or we can have 1 0 also, right? So in 1 0, if nums elif elif nums of 0 to 0 and nums of 1 return 1 elif nums of 0 equal to 0, nums of 1 equal to 0. I will just return 1. This logic is wrong. Okay, so what if I say if nums of I equals 1, I'll just increase the count, else if I remove this because I'm just counting. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do here is whenever I see nums of I equals 1, then I'm just increasing the count. Else, if nums of I is not equal to 1 or nums of I am finding it as 0, then what I'm doing is I'm just taking the maximum of count or count max, right? So whatever is the maximum, I'll store this, okay, and I'll just say the value of count is 0. That's it. And in the end, I'll return maximum of whatever is the max. Okay, let us try submitting this code whether it is coming correct or not. Yes, this test cases, all 45 of 45 test cases have passed. Okay, so what is the idea? We just rearranged the logic. Nothing we did. We just deleted an extra logic which was creating a problem. Okay, and we could get the ideas correct. Okay, see guys, you can see here the logic was same, but there was little rearrangement so that the error was the error can be subdued, right? Okay, So this was the this was the idea how we can find the max consecutive ones, and here we actually did with a single for loop. Okay, so the constraint is within the limit. The time complexity here will be, as we have only one for loop, we have the time complexity as order of n, right? And here we have the time complexity as order of 1, because we are just checking out the condition. Here also we have the time complexity as order of 1, that is constant, because it is just increasing. These two cases also we have the time complexity as order of 1. So we have total time complexity as 4 plus n, right? Order of 4 plus n, which is, in the worst case, if the value of n is very much higher, up to 10 to the power 5, then this 4 becomes 4 plus 10 to the power 5 becomes, the 4 can be ignored, right? So in the end, we have the time complexity approximately equal to as order of n. Okay, that is why this problem could be solved. If we were supposed to use two for loops, then it will definitely, the code would have crashed, right? So guys, this is all with respect to the time and space complexity and the solution of the question. Okay, max consecutive ones. There are similar question which has, you can see here in the problem list. Okay, max consecutive ones. So these two are medium types. So this is log. You can try out these easy questions: consecutive characters, longer consecutive segments of one than zeros, length of longest alphabetical continuous substring. So these are, the concept are little different. We have to use something called as character in it, because uh, we want to find out the longest alphabetical continuous substring. So the concept of substring will also be covered in the later part of this series. Okay, and till then, I'll see you in the next question. So that will be our day 14 of 200 days live DSA Python series. Okay, why I'm covering DSA in Python? Because we will slowly switch on to the machine learning part and the RAG, right? And guys, you know that Python plays a very important role in, AI engineering domains, right? That is why I am covering these particular topics. I could have covered the same through C++ and other languages, but the Python is the most simple language, okay, out of all these, and it is the widely accepted language, okay, in the programmer community, right? So you should always think about learning new languages, and those languages which will ultimately lead to you know bigger success in the long run, right? So that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 11 p.m. Till then, bye bye and take care.